Alrighty, welcome to Pure Embodiment Corner, where we drop performance and step back into truth. I am Imani, and I'm here with Isoke, a mother, a child of God, and just an amazing woman doing amazing things. I am so excited she joined us, and this is where we embody our corner in hopes to inspire you to embody your corner until every corner on earth is covered. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Awesome, awesome. So glad that we finally got to do this.
yes. Me too. Me too. I'm so excited.
Awesome. So I want to go ahead and dive in. Every woman has experiences that shape who she becomes. When you look back at your life, what are some of the things that shaped you and influenced you to be the woman you are today?
Oh, I don't even know where to start. The first, I say I can give you maybe my top three. My first experience was when my brother passed away. I was 9 and he was 18. This was he died from cancer, but back then in the late 90s, they didn't cancer was just coming out. They didn't know what it was. They didn't have any cure. They didn't. This is before chemo, before radiation, before any of these new medicines and things came out to treat cancer.
Oh, I'm so sorry
So,
for your loss.
oh, thank you. So learning to deal with the grief at a very young age taught me resilience and acceptance. Um, and it took me a long time to kind of to adjust to the new norm.
Mhm.
Because at 9, you don't think about death. At 9 years old, you don't think about death. You in your mind, you think about, oh, they're gonna live forever. My brother's here, and then the next day he's gone. So that was something that I had to learn very early on in life. That's why now I treasure life as much as I do because, I mean, my brother was 18, healthy. Out of nowhere, all of a sudden he got sick, and then 3 weeks after he got sick, he was gone. So,
Yeah.
and it happened so quickly.
Yeah, and the fact
Um,
that they didn't have chemo and none of that, it wasn't
yes,
a thing. And just we like to think of the 90s as, far away, but it actually was, not too long ago. So the fact that radiation and chemo wasn't a thing back then and it took your brother's life is just I'm so sorry to hear that.
oh, it's okay. Thank you. I'm like, it'll be. Oh, he died in 99. So it'll be 27 years.
Hmm.
27 years, yes.
Okay,
That was
wow.
yes. So it'll be 27 years this year. Actually, the end of this month, since he passed away. So it has gotten easier with the years. I still get triggered sometimes. Whether I'm watching a movie and like one of the characters has cancer, or I hear a song that I used to play over and over again early on.
Yeah.
Or see, even now, like with my son has a lot of my brother's traits.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes it kind of triggers me or kind of hurt my heart because I'm like, oh, because I started going through my what ifs again. Well, what if my brother was here?
Absolutely,
And
absolutely.
that's one thing I had to learn how to not do, get out my
Yep.
the what ifs because it will send me back down that dark road where I'm just crying incessantly and I was like, I'm not doing that anymore. I felt like I feel my brother's presence. I know he's looking down on us. He's my son's angel because I say that all the time. Since my son was born,
I love that.
my son's angel. So I look forward to seeing him again. I can
Yeah,
say
and
that.
I love how you said grief taught you resilience, and
Yes.
that's how you became the woman you are today. Because so many of us have that resilient character, and it's people think it's like just natural, but it's usually built,
Yeah.
And I think that's so beautiful that you're able to recognize now that was what it took for you to step into your resilience, because
Yes.
that's what's most important.
Yes. Yes. And I early on I can say that I kind of envy like my friends who had big brothers because I'm like, even though don't get me wrong, I do have an older brother. He lives in California,
Hmm.
um, but he wasn't in the household with me growing up.
Hmm.
He was already gone by that time. So the brother that
Absolutely.
passed was the one that grew up in the house. Like we grew up in the same house. So it was I hit out family pretty hard. It was very hurt, devastating at that time. But
Absolutely.
that's just one factor. Another one I can say that taught me strength was not necessarily strength, but independence.
Mm-hmm.
Is so I grew up in a male dominant family. I have a lot of boy
Yeah.
cousins, not that many girl
Mm-hmm.
cousins. And I was always around my dad's family. And then amongst my dad's family, like I said, it's a male dominant family. And
Mm-hmm.
so my dad was the third oldest of seven boys. He didn't have any
Mm-hmm.
sisters. The only woman in the house was my grandmother. So
Mm-hmm.
growing up, my dad wasn't shown affection, and hence he wasn't showing affection to his kids.
Mm-hmm.
So me being a girl, I I didn't realize it then, but looking back on it now, I realize how much he taught me independence without teaching me independence.
Yes.
The reason why I
Yeah.
say that is because my dad, well, nine, he made sure, but because of him, I don't depend on a man for anything. I don't look for a man to pay my bills. I don't look for a man to do anything for me because of the lack thereof I got from my dad, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Like he made sure that we got out and we worked and got our earned our own money. We didn't depend on no man to do anything for us.
Mm-hmm.
And my mom had a lot to do with that too, because she was a stay-at-home mom until I got to like middle school maybe, and then she went back to work.
Gotcha.
But and then the downside of that, however, is that the lack of the affection that I didn't receive from my dad had me go look for it in other men. That I
Absolutely.
Yeah, I learned everything I know. I can say everything I learned about a man, I learned through experience. I
Yeah.
didn't have that. Father God to tell me.
Most, yeah, it's crazy how we have to figure it out through the hard knocks. You know, like so many of us have to figure out through the hard way instead of just, the easy way as most people. But teaches us a resilience and strength and who we can depend on,
Yes.
And I kind of want to take it a little deeper.
Hmm.
So you said your independence is what you had to learn, and I know you were going somewhere with that. So when you got older, did you ever become interdependent with God of knowing that He had you no matter what?
Yes and no.
Mm-hmm.
I did to a certain point until I got out. Honestly, until I got out of under my mom and dad's shadow.
Gotcha.
Because my parents are pastors. They've been
Mm-hmm.
pastoring since longer than I've been born. They have their own
Gotcha.
church. So growing up as a preacher's kid, I was always put on a pedestal as, you're going to serve the church. You're going to be just like your parents. You're going to be this, this, and this. So when I
Absolutely.
left
People
and
don't
go
see
to
that side.
college, right? When I left and went to college, it was completely different. I was basically, the chains were off, the ball and chain was
Mm-hmm.
off, and I was gone. I was pleasing my flesh for
Mm-hmm.
so long. And I mean so long. And don't get me wrong, there were times where I came back, but it had to be like a real life situation. Like almost a life and death
Yeah.
situation for me to come back and be like, okay, God, I thank you.
Yep.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
I thank you for covering me. And then I
Yeah.
go back and turn around and go back to do my fleshly things.
Okay.
So it wasn't until it wasn't until later on in life that I realized like you got to stop playing with God like that, because I kept telling
Mm.
myself, how many times is he going to save you before you realize this is not a game?
Mhm.
My dad preached about
Absolutely.
this today at church. That's the crazy part. He preached about this today in church, and it was about from Psalms 26:2. Examine
Mhm.
yourself, and he was saying that how will you think about how many times God has brought you out of the things, and you still think that it's okay to do what you do? How many times is God going to do that until you realize this is not what you need. This is not it.
Absolutely.
This is how many
Absolutely.
times God is going to spare you, like, or how many times God is going to show you mercy before you get it. And I was like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, and
Is
it
this for
made me
me?
think that right. It made me think about like all of the situations that I was put in that God brought me out of because He
Hmm.
showed me mercy. Like knowing I
Absolutely.
should have, knowing I should have never put myself in it because it was my own action that I put myself in those situations, and
Absolutely.
it was amazing how God showed me grace and mercy and pulled me right out of it because I'm just grateful. But that made me think about that today, and I was like, okay, Dad, you're on to something. You got a point.
Absolutely.
But
There's so
yeah,
many times in life where you sit back and you realize that was nothing but God's hand. That was nothing but God's hand. Like I literally could have been all the way over there, but because of God's grace and mercy, I was able to sustain myself and get to the
yes,
next level. You
yes.
know, and so I had to share that and also hear from you of like how God's hand has been in your life. And so I do want to move on to the next question. Is that
Yeah,
okay?
yeah.
Okay, perfect. Becoming a mother is one of the most transformative experiences. And I know we talked about this previously, and you have shared how much being a mother is your joy and it has truly changed you. Can you explain to me how did motherhood change you for the better and what has it taught you about yourself?
Um, it had changed me for the better because um, I I finally understand the meaning of unconditional love,
Mm,
and the fact that I have a son is is very different versus you having a daughter and being a mom. But the fact that I have a son and I'm being and I get unconditional love from him is something that I would never take for granted. And the reason being because my son is he's very emotionally intelligent.
mhm.
So reason being is because he it can be because I struggle with postpartum, still struggling with it, but not as much as I was when he was first born because my son's 7 now. But on my days where I like on my down days, I should say, I notice he'll come in my room and he'll just lay in my lap or he'll just sit there and he'll hug me.
Mhm.
And I'm like, "Are you okay?" "Yeah, mom. I just wanted to hug you."
Mm, I love that. I
Yeah,
truly believe, yeah, I love that. I truly believe children are arrows. I don't have any children of my own, but I believe there are arrows to where how we should move forward. And it sounds like your son is definitely like very in tune with, all right, I'm here for my mom's experience as well and my experience.
and I've learned your children are a reflection of you.
Hmm.
They're a reflection of your intelligence, your emotions, your even your spirituality. They are a reflection of you.
Oh,
So
absolutely.
that's one thing that I learned being a mom. One thing that I learned how to do since being a mom is having patience. And I thought I had patience before I had. Now, mind you, I have never been a very patient person. However, when God wants you to learn a lesson the hard way, oh, He is going to humble you and sit you down. That is for sure. I had to learn patience with my son, and ironically, it has taught me how to work um, in the environment that I'm in. Because right now I work with kids at a nonprofit. And
Hmm.
then even when I worked back in behavioral health, I was still working with kids. So it teaches me a lot of patience, being patient with my son, understanding that sometimes he's not going to get it, understanding that sometimes he just needs to yell and scream and get mad just to let those negative emotions out. It's okay. He's not perfect, you know. And so I'm trying to make him feel comfortable, and I always remind him that, son, it is okay to express your feelings because as a man,
Hmm.
they always somehow, for some reason, they think it's not cool or it's not masculine to express your
Absolutely.
emotions. That's
Absolutely.
one thing that I tell him. I said, son, even though you might get told that it's not okay, son, it's okay to express how you feel. Okay,
Absolutely.
it's not. It doesn't make you less of a man. It doesn't make you less of a human being. It's okay to express how you feel.
And
I
I
think that's what
salute
it's
you for
all
that. Like, I salute you for working for the nonprofit organization. I love what you do and how you're showing up for kids to see that example. And I also salute you just for being there for your son and letting him express, because I know in this climate we're in, men are expected just to hold a lot and not get the understanding that they need to proceed. And I like to use this term, inner standing. And it seems like that's what your son, you and your son have, that understanding, so he can understand that it's okay to express. And it's so
yes,
beautiful to hear.
yes, yes. Sometimes he expressed a little too much, but nonetheless, he does express himself, and I love that he is truly growing into his own. And
Mhm.
he's very intellectual. He analyzes a lot of things. He thinks about.
Mhm.
He's a deep thinker. He's a very deep thinker.
Absolutely.
So he talks, and sometimes we have in depth conversations. I'm like, you're 7, dude. Why are we talking about the, but it and sometimes honestly he teaches me. Parents, I do want to say that parents, it's okay to learn from your kid. You don't know
Mm.
everything. And I say this all the time. There is no guidebook. There is no
Yep.
manual on how to be a parent, okay?
Absolutely.
There is nothing.
Mhm.
There are teachings on how to be a better parent or
Yep.
teachings on how to parent in a certain way, but there is no guidebook. There is no rule book. You learn it as you go. So I appreciate when I can actually learn from my kid because I feel like
Mm.
I don't know everything. And he'll let me know, Mom, I thought you knew that, Mom. But Mom, didn't you say you knew? So I let him know. I say, son, even though I'm your mom, I'm still learning. Like I'm still learning how to be your
Mm.
mom, just like you're learning how to be a son. So
Mm.
we're learning off of each other at
I
this
love how you said that, because so many people, I would say, can learn from that. Being in a space of still learning, even as a mother, is the greatest joy, because that's what I hear from you, just sheer joy and being able to know there's more for you to learn. And that's what it seems like your son has taught you. And I love that.
Yes, yes, yes,
Yeah, I love
yes,
that, because I say this, when you get to the point where you don't know and you don't want to know, that's when your world is going to end. Your spirit is going to be crushed because you're not trying to still seek knowledge. Just knowledge is power. So, cheers. Yeah, I love that.
yeah.
Now, we recently discussed how you made the decision. It says, I'm pivoting a little bit. How you made the decision to embrace sobriety.
hmm
What led you to that? And how has it just been changing your life for the better?
Um, so my sobriety has been a struggle for a long time because early on I used it. I used to smoke marijuana. I mean, I used to smoke just to smoke, just to smoke, just to smoke. Originally, it started in college,
Hmm.
where I would smoke because it was popular. It was a thing to do. Everybody around me was smoking, so I was smoking.
Hmm.
Then later on, I used it as a crutch to deal with my emotions.
Hmm.
When I was upset, I smoked. When I was tired, I smoked. When I was stressed out, I smoked.
Hmm.
Then I
Same.
stopped. Right, I stopped
That was me
smoking.
for a long time.
Yes, I stopped smoking after when I got pregnant with my son. After I had my son, started dealing with postpartum. That I started smoking again to deal with my postpartum. So it wasn't until a couple of months ago, um, my dad put the church on a fast, and I say, you know what? This is the time. I say, God, this is the time that I'm going to let it go. So I stopped smoking cold turkey. Like
Hmm.
I just stopped during the fast. That was at that fast. I decided I'm going to stop.
Yep.
So during that fast for because we fasted for a week from midnight to 3,
Hmm.
and I told myself when I feel like I want to smoke, read my Bible. Or when I feel like I want to smoke,
I
smoke
love
music.
that.
So it helped me tremendously because it made me realize you're not dependent on it. It's a mental thing. It's
Yep.
really a mental thing.
Absolutely.
Um, I realized I wasn't dependent on it. I realized when I felt stressed, okay, let me put on some worship music, or when I'm feeling
I love that.
overwhelmed, let me look in the Bible, look up the word stress. Let me see what it says in the Bible. Because I started just doing research and stuff like that. So after the fast, we had prayer at the church that Friday night. Fast ended Friday at 3 when we had church that night. And I was praying and I was like, God, I thank you. I just started crying, was just crying out to him, and just saying how grateful I was that you delivered me for something that I thought I was never going to be delivered from. Because, like I said, I had been struggling with that for years, and I had been debating whether I wanted to stop. Because I keep saying, "Yeah, I'm gonna stop smoking. I'm gonna stop doing this. I'm gonna
Mm,
stop doing that." And so, after I stopped, I didn't realize how much it was affecting me negatively. I was pleasing
yep.
my flesh, but not my spirit. And
Yep.
because I was so focused on pleasing my flesh, it had negative outcomes. Like I lost a job, a good paying job, because I couldn't pass a urine test. I like it was bad. Like my house was had a horrible smell. My clothes, like it was bad.
Mm,
Like I didn't realize, but at that point I didn't care, because dealing with postpartum at that time, I felt like, well, don't nobody care about me. Everybody worry about my son, so I'm gonna do me. Bump where everybody else think. That was my mindset. So once I got out of that and realized you don't need this to cope, because it's a temporary fix at the end of the day. It was just a
yep.
temporary fix, and I realized I wasn't getting high anymore. I was just there. I was just there, and
Yeah.
it didn't have no effect on me anymore. And I was like, all this money I'm wasting buying marijuana and things, and it doesn't work for me. What am I doing?
Mm.
Um,
It
and
sounded like that was your wake up call, and
it really was my wake up call, and that fast is
mm,
what started me on this journey of where I am now. So I've been 2 months sober
and
of
how has
marijuana.
it shift your perspective on purpose?
You said what?
How has it shift your perspective on purpose? Because that is beautiful, and I'm cheering you on. And I know it's a struggle because when you please
Yes.
your flesh for so long and you want to, like for me example, I struggled with addiction all the way since I was maybe 16 years old. And giving it up was one of the hardest things. But when I committed, it brought me so much back in return. It gave me a second wind at life. And so I would love to hear how it shaped you and how it's giving you what's it giving you back.
It has given me, like you really said, it was giving me a purpose. Like
Mhm.
I'm finding myself. I'm finding myself as Isoke again. Like I'm
We
finding,
love that. We love that.
yes, I'm finding myself as not only a reborn Christian, but as a human being. Like
Yep.
who I am as a who I am as a mother, who I am as a person, an employee, all the above. And so my purpose now is basically, what legacy do I want to leave for my son?
Mm.
And so that's where I am. That's my thought process now. What legacy do I want to leave for my son? Because I have to start thinking about those things now. And that's another thing. Like I'm closer to 40 than I am 30. So I'm
Mhm.
like, okay, so we're getting down to setting that scene, setting that lineage of what you want to leave for your children. So
Absolutely.
I for me now, I'm more focused on my career. What do I want to do with the rest of my life? What do I want to do with my career and be proud of what I'm doing?
Absolutely.
So right now, I'm pivoting back and trying to get back into behavioral health. I actually have a
Mm.
job interview on Tuesday, so
Yes, I love to hear that. I love to hear that.
yeah.
Yes, we love to hear that.
So
And I know we spoke about that previously,
yes,
so I'd love
yes.
to hear that.
Yes, so I have an interview on Tuesday at a behavioral health hospital out here in Arlington. So hopefully, I'm not going to say hopefully, but I
We're
know
gonna
I'm
be
going to get
praying.
it. I know I'm going to get it. I just,
Absolutely.
I'm just looking forward to the what's the word I'm looking for? I'm looking forward to the refreshing, the new
Yes.
start. of what's
Wow.
about to come, because I know something is going to happen, um, and I'm just looking forward to it. And
Wow.
I knew um, it wasn't going to be easy, because I heard God tell me, okay, now that you're here, now that you're saying that you're done, now that you're saying that you're over with it, I'm gonna put you in a position to where you're gonna be stressed, to where you're gonna think you need to do this, and see what you're gonna do. And He did.
Yep,
He
absolutely. He
most
always
definitely
does. God
did.
always does. And
Yes.
I love how you said shaping your lineage and legacy. Oh my gosh. I was just in the car today actually, and I was saying you can either shape your lineage with negative or you can shape it for the good. But either way it goes, it's getting shaped. You are imprinted for the next generation. They look to what you did when you were living. You come in this world by yourself, but essentially shared space with your family. And those are the people from the moment you were born to the time you die will know what's going on with your life. And
Yeah.
so it's like you can either shape it and it don't live for them, live for God, but you can shape it for the better or for the worse. There's no in between. And so it's so beautiful that you're thinking of that now and we both are. And it's just like more people need to think about how they're leaving their legacy because that's truly something that is getting left regardless. You have a legacy no matter what. And I love that you're getting back into behavior health. I know we had
Yes.
spoke previously about that because the next generation is huge for the both of us and shaping them and it's truly remarkable and it sounds like your sobriety brought you clarity.
It did. It really
It
did.
brought you and like me as well, when I first got sober it was like, oh my gosh, the fog is dissipating. I can run now because in front of me I can see.
Mm-hmm.
And people don't realize how powerful that shift is in life when you get sober because of how much the fog is over your eyes when you're not sober.
Yeah.
So I cheer you on for that. I'm happy for you, and I'll be praying for you on your job interview on Tuesday.
Thank
I'm
you.
sure you're gonna kill it because you and them kids they go hand in hand.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. And I feel in almost every single job, other than working retail, every single job I've had, I have worked with kids. Um,
Absolutely. And you was telling me about all the remarkable things and how you were not only shaping them, but you were shaping their later days because they were remembering someone cared about me, but also someone showed me I can be better.
hmm
And that's what's most important. So we need people like you in that space.
Yes.
So I'm
Yes.
just so happy you're getting back into it.
Thank you.
Now, as a preacher's daughter, people often place expectations on you. You told me that they placed you on a pedestal. How did you develop a personal relationship with God and of your own? And how did you separate from the labels and expectations others placed on you?
I developed my own relationship with God honestly, by trial and error.
Mm.
That is the best way.
Thank you for being honest. Thank you.
Yes, that is the best way that I can put it, by trial and error. Because I realized I can't do what my mom does. I
Hmm.
can't do what my dad does. I can't do what my aunt, cause my aunt does. Can't do what my uncle does. I have to do what Isoke can do. So
Absolutely.
it was really trial by error on my building my personal relationship with God. Um, as we talked about, I have this. I think I got this from my mother. I don't think I know I got this from my both of my parents, but the spirit of discernment. I used to think it was, something told me. I used to say
Hmm.
that all the time. First of all, I used to say something told me, and my mom used to say no, that wasn't something. That was God telling you
Yep.
that you need to do this, this, and this. So stop saying that. And I used to say that all the time, and so I stopped saying that because I realized he's okay. That wasn't something, or you know what? I should have listened to my first mind. That wasn't your first mind. That was God telling you you don't need to be doing this, or you shouldn't be doing this. But guess what you did? You did it anyway. And there's so many instances where I used to think back and I used to be like, you know what, that wasn't me. That wasn't my first mind. That wasn't something. That was God telling me, you need to chill out. You need to do this instead of this. I know you want to do this. I know my child. You want to do this. But no, I'm telling you to do this.
Yep. I
So
love how you said that.
it was a
Absolutely.
it was a very it was a kind of like a tightrope situation. I'm pulling, he pulling. I'm pulling, he pulling. So finally he pulled and I fell, and he won. So I'm excited. The word I keep saying is excited. I'm excited to see what he's
Mm,
doing for me because it feels different. Like I found myself laughing because I'm like, God, you really brought me through. Like
mhm.
looking back on everything that I had been through, everything that I put myself through, but based on my own actions, including becoming a single mother, like that was on my own actions. It, I'm like, God, I thank you because you really got me. You did your big one, and I
Yeah,
get I'm understanding why you did what you did. Because
absolutely.
maybe, yeah, because I'm like, okay, now I see I have a greater purpose. That's another reason
Yes,
why um, I smile now because I realize God saved me because I have a greater purpose on this earth. I may not know what it
absolutely.
is just yet, but I know it's something greater than I could have ever have dreamed or expected.
Mm, absolutely. So much of what you just said, I resonate with because I love to tell people God met me in my addiction.
Hmm.
Like I one day ran my car into a what's the thing called a fence.
Hmm.
I was tired, drinking off of work, and I could have died. But God met me in that moment and now and instructed me to get sober. And
Hmm.
it took a couple of times, that trial and error, as you said, but he met me in my addiction. He didn't say, "Oh, no, Imani, you are drunk. You're a functional alcoholic. I don't want to talk to you." No, he said, "Get sober. I love you too much to keep you low. Come up
Hmm.
higher, my daughter."
Hmm.
And it's like in those moments is when you realize, oh, there's something bigger than me. This ain't my strength. This is
Right.
God's strength. And God's strength alone is the reason why I stand before you today. Because I could have been out a long time ago. You could have been out a long time ago. But when you listen to those nudges and you be like, oh, it's God. I can
Hmm.
trust him. Let me listen to that voice and not my own because my own got me in this situation in the first place.
Yes.
So I love how you said that. And then it also brings me to my next question. We talked about previously about discernment, and you was telling me how you learned it in the workplace and you have the spirit of discernment, and it's truly I believe I learned it this year, discernment. I used to say it was boundaries, but discernment is stronger than boundaries.
Hmm.
Discernment is knowing what you're dealing with and not using it for judgment, but using it for clarity to move forward.
Hmm.
So tell me about your journey with discernment and how it has helped you in every aspect of your life.
It so it was something similar to what you just said. Because I'm now sober, my discernment is more clear. I have clarity with it. I don't struggle. I don't
Won't
juggle.
he
I
do
don't
it?
juggle back and forth with it. I'm like, okay, this is what it is. I see it. I see you, God. This is what it is.
Hmm.
And for me, I'm very observant. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna chill back in the cut and see what's going on. To see how this is gonna play out. God, not to be judgmental or anything. It's to see if the outcome is basically see where I need to play my part. That's how I
That
look at
part.
discernment. It's he because for me, he shows me things that because he knows I'm very observant. So he shows me things like little snippets of things that I need to see. Probably won't nobody else see, but he shows me things, and I'm just like, okay. So if this is going to happen this way, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. I already see
Yes.
this. I already see this conspiring over here. So let me go ahead and remove myself and go do what I need to do over here. So that's how I interpreted discernment. Don't get me wrong. I still hear His word. I still hear
Hmm.
God speaking to me. But my level of discernment now is visual. Like I
Yes,
see things.
absolutely. It
Yes,
upgrades. The clearer your
yes,
temple is, I love to tell
yes,
people, the clearer my vessel, the more I can hear from him.
yes. Hmm.
And that's the most important. I think what people fail to realize is the cleaner your temple is, the
Hmm.
more God's presence can take over.
Yes,
That's
yes.
really what it is.
Yeah.
It's like going back to that flesh versus spirit.
Hmm.
You
Like in the
know,
flesh, yeah, in the flesh, I used to hear his voice, you
hmm
know, and I was like, okay, whatever. I was very stubborn in my
hmm
flesh. I'm gonna
hmm
do what I want to do. I
Me
don't care
too.
what you say, even though I know it's wrong, but it feel good to me. It can feel good to my
I was
spirit,
stubborn for a
and I'm gonna do
long
it
time.
anyway. So I'm like, I'm gonna do it anyway. But since I stepped into my spirit side of myself, I hear him, but more importantly, I see. I
Hmm
see now. Okay, and ironically, that's a part of the job that I'm in now is me seeing things that other people usually don't see, or
Absolutely.
planning for things that people wouldn't think about. So, and it also goes into my profession of being a recreational therapist. We see a typical recreational activity like playing basketball. You might see it as you just shooting hoops, but we see it as anger release, emotional release. We see it as a mental release. We see it as so many different
Absolutely.
things that you may see it in a different lens that you may see it from. And I was like, okay, I see how all of this is now tying back together into one.
hmm
So that's where I am on my level of discernment now. I'm seeing things visually. Like even now in the workplace now, I'm slowly separating myself because I'm
hmm
like, okay, I see. I'm finding this and it's crazy. And I'm so glad that I'm at this point because I understood. I'm now in a point of understanding where people that I thought were for me just because they're cool with me are not really for me.
Yep. Absolutely. Talk about it. Talk
And
about it.
And when I mean for me, I mean have my best intentions. As in, like, I'm not gonna root you. I'm going to root you up till you get your best potential. Now I'm gonna root you up and then take credit because I helped you root you up, and it's gonna make me look better. That is not where I want to be. And I am not the type
Mm-hmm.
to my own horn. I've never been that way. I let my work
hmm
speak for me.
Yes.
So I'm like, okay, I see. I'm over here, like I said, I'm over here chilling the cut. Okay, I see. I see what they got going on. I'm not. Okay. So I know what not to do with you. Okay, cool. And I'm over here looking. Okay. You know what? Let me go ahead and let me go ahead and prep myself. And so that's where I am now with my discernment. I'm
Mm-hmm.
visual with it. So and he'll. One thing about God,
hmm
when he show you signs, they get bigger and bigger and bigger to the point to where it's literally smacking you in the face.
Very
And I
much
don't want to get to the
so.
point to where I get smacked in the face again.
Absolutely. I and I couldn't agree any more than you said it perfectly. It's the visual, it's knowing who's for you and just knowing people who have your best intentions. Because I think a lot of people think discernment is to judge. Oh, I know that person. I didn't discern something. I ain't going that way. No, it's for you to move accordingly to God's will. That's really it.
Yes.
It's giving you the knowledge to move in where you're on the path you're supposed to go. I always used to tell my old clients is everybody have a specific destination to get to. It's your job to get to it. And if you don't walk on your path, you wind up walking on someone else's path. You're only saying no to yourself and yes to them.
Hmm.
And so it's very important to use that discernment to keep walking and keep moving according to God's will and not use it for judgment of, oh, I'm better than this person, but just to know, hey, I love you, girl. I love you, boy, but I got to keep going. I got to keep
Yes. Yes.
going.
Yes.
And I love how you said that. And I think we talked about this before, the next generation of how we both aspire to motivate them, to encourage them. And I told you about my psych hospital work, and we just talked about how we want to pour into them because we see that the world isn't getting any easier,
Yes.
and it's
Yeah.
not getting any easier. So what is your biggest piece of advice for the next generation? And if someone was thinking about giving up because life is lifing, what would you tell them to not give up?
I would tell them to trust in God.
I love that.
And for those of you that, because I want to say this, there are a lot of naysayers in this generation. They don't believe God is real. They have their own version of God. Like I noticed we have this. They have people walking around preaching this New Testament that God is not real. And I'm like, you can't preach on the New Testament without going to the Old Testament. Like the Old Testament is where the foundation was laid for the New Testament. And don't give up. God has a plan for every single person on this earth. You just have to do the work to figure out what that plan is. It's not going to be easy. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that it will be, because it's not going to be easy. Everybody's journey is different. And if you believe in God, that's all you have to do is give it all to Him. It may not feel like it's going to be okay, but I promise you it's going to be okay. Give it all to Him. Give Him your worries, give Him your stress, give Him your happiness, your sad days, your anger. Give that all to Him. And I promise you, you will feel lighter, lifted. You will feel enlightened, if even to just and for those of you who that probably don't know what to do, just pray. And if you don't
Yes.
know how to pray, it's just praying is just a simple conversation between you and God.
There you
That is
go.
all it is. You can pray in silence because God hears your thoughts. He's in there too. So you can pray in silence. You can just nod your head and do this and pray. You can pray out loud. You can pray. You can pray with the loved one. Pray with the stranger. But you're not alone in this journey. Everybody's going
Absolutely.
through something. You're not alone. You are
Yeah.
not alone.
Beautifully said. I think that's so important. Everything that you said, trusting God and just knowing that you're not alone. Because I think that a lot of the new generation feel like there is no God, and that's scary. But I will tell you this, you can preach the New Testament, but unless you know God, you won't know peace. My whole life, I was searching for something, and I didn't realize what I was searching for until I found God.
Yeah.
And when I found Him, my life was filled with, it's not easy, no, but it's filled with more peace because I know who it comes from.
Hmm.
And I think that's the biggest thing that we had to learn the hard way. But when we learned it, we're like, life without God is ghetto.
It is very difficult. It's very difficult. And I think a lot of that has been tainted with social media, because these kids now have so much access to social media
Yes.
that we didn't have. We grew
Yes.
up on
Yes.
MySpace. We grew up on
MySpace used to be
MySpace.
the thing.
Yes, before we had Facebook, baby, we had MySpace. Okay, so and I think this generation has so much access to social media that they think what they see on there is popular, because it's getting millions of views and thousands, 100,000s of likes. That it's okay to be that way, and
Mhm.
that's not. It's not the God. Just because it's the flesh, it's the world's way. That doesn't mean it's the right way, because it's not God.
Absolutely. And I'm gonna take it a step further. Exactly what you said. It's biblical.
Yeah.
God wouldn't give you things that would crush your spirit.
Hmm.
So even though you have access to these things, that's not necessarily a part of your path. It could be too soon, or it could be it
It's
would be
not.
something that would crush your spirit. And so I think it's important to know what God has for you, because if not, you're going to wind up having sorrow and not
Hmm.
joy. And
Yeah.
that's the biggest thing I would love to tell the next generation is, if you are searching for something and you wind up getting it through a means that isn't ethical, and it comes and you're like, oh my gosh, I got all this money, 9 times out of 10, it's going to bring you sorrow because it's crushing your spirit instead of lifting you up, because you
Yeah.
didn't necessarily do what it takes to get there ethically. And I think that's the biggest thing I want to tell the next generation is yes, those things are great. And I'm not saying not to get abundance and prosperity. God wants that. But he wants you to do it in a way where he is at the center of everything.
Yes, yes, and that is, you made a excellent point. This is, and I'm gonna be honest. This day and age, being a Christian is not popular.
Mm-mm. And it's
Sadly,
hard.
it is sadly being a Christian is not popular. Talking about God is not popular. However, it's the right thing to do. Sometimes you have to be put in an uncomfortable position for you to shine, for you to grow, for you to understand your purpose and
Absolutely.
exactly what you're supposed to be doing.
Hmm.
And it's okay to it's okay for you not to have it together at the beginning. That's one thing about
Absolutely.
God. He
Mm.
when it's time, he's going to let you know.
That part.
Everything's not gonna happen when you want to have. Like one of my favorite songs of all time. He's an on time God. He may not come when you want him, but he's always on time, and that's something that I preach, not preach, but I quote all the time because he's always shown me he ain't come when I wanted to that time when I prayed that time, but when I needed him the most, oh, he showed up and he showed out. You know?
Absolutely, absolutely. And I love how you said that. You said, he doesn't come like the way he comes isn't right away.
Right.
It's a journey. And I
Yes.
think the biggest thing of us two at our age we've learned is that enjoy the journey because when you get there, God will be there and he's there every step of the
Yes.
way. But you gotta enjoy it.
It
You
makes
know,
it more
you
worthwhile when you get to the end.
exactly. And I think that's the most beautiful thing of enjoying it, even though sometimes it hurts, but giving it to God and knowing He's right there in with you. I know this season in my life right now, I'm finally gotten back to my happiness, like true, authentic happy.
Yeah.
And it's because I know I'm not alone. And that God has a bigger purpose, like you said, and doing His purpose brings me joy. So that's really it. Just keep God first, trust in Him, and let God lead the way.
Yes, because he got you. You just got to
Yes.
let him have you. That's it.
Yes. Well,
Yeah.
thank you so much for being here with me. Thank you for just sharing all of your gems. Like you've truly been a godsend on just being here with me. And I love how God is using you and He is shaping your life and you are truly doing remarkable things. Just keep going.
Thank
And
you. Thank you. I appreciate you so much for allowing me to come on this platform and speak my truth. This is new to me, so
yes.
um, I love it. And I look forward to what he has in store, and I pray that you take this and it becomes nationwide because you have a
Mm.
story and a message to tell. I mean, it's a story to tell, and it is amazing what you're doing
Thank
too.
you so much. Thank you so much. I received that. And this is Pure Embodiment Corner where we lay down performance and we step back into truth. Because when we embody our corner, we hope that you embody your corner until every corner on earth is covered. See you next time.
Yes.